what Pete Hegseth said today, his message to Iran. And here is what he said.
To Iran's military leadership, to the KH leadership and IRGC leadership, we're watching you. Our capabilities are not the same, our military and yours. Remember, this is not a fair fight. And we know what military assets you are moving and where you are moving them to. While you are digging out, which is exactly what you're doing, digging out of bombed out and devastated facilities, we are only getting stronger. You are digging out your remaining launchers and missiles with no ability to replace them. You have no defense industry, no ability to replenish your offensive or defensive capabilities. You only have what you have. You know that, and we know that. You can move things around, but you can't actually rebuild. You can dig out for now, but you can't reconstitute. But we can. We are reloading with more power than ever before, and better intelligence, even more importantly, better intelligence than ever before, as you expose yourself with your movement to our watchful eye. We are locked and loaded on your critical dual-use infrastructure, on your remaining power generation, and on your energy industry. We'd rather not have to do it, but we're ready to go at the command of our president and at the push of a button.
Yeah. Andrei, what is your understanding? What is he trying to send to the Iranian army, Iranian IRGC? Because what we've learned, at least they're not talking about that much about the production of missiles and weapons, but what we've learned from the Iran Army Executive Deputy Brigadier General Sheikh, he said that the army's destructive drone production increased by 10 times. What is he talking about? Because this sort of message doesn't resonate with Iranians. They know these sort of allegations for people in the West.
Pete Hegseth is there actually, he's the guy with the NCO mentality. He learned a couple of buzzwords. He has absolutely no serious military background. He has no military education. He has been in this theater of operations where there's not really war. That in police operation of the medium intensity in Afghanistan, which was controlled by Taliban since 2005, essentially. So when this guy comes up with all those, it's all spin and PR to put basically lipstick on the pig, of the catastrophic military humiliation. And whatever he says is just a bunch of the, verbiage about something, lock and loaded with what? Iranians are not idiots. They know how many Tomahawks and JASSMs the United States has. And if they want to go and do what usually the United States does, bomb, it doesn't have many standoff weapons left. And whatever. So the guy is in the PR. He is not Secretary of War. So he is operationally, he's an amateur. He doesn't understand real things. The only thing which the American generals who are really not good operationally also come to him and brief him with. We're looking at the decomposition of the, especially when you consider who is the boss, who himself is a completely unhinged and insane man. So it's the composition of the administration, which have been defeated militarily. Now we have the situation with the ceasefire in Lebanon, which of course, that's the United States again, submitting to the demands of Iran. So they have to put the brave face and, project this thing about that everybody laughs at now, that United States military have been exposed for what it is. And it was always like that, except that there was this, I want to remind you, everybody, that the whole notion of American strategy, if you can call it this way, and especially when you consider how the political system evolved, which was all about show. It's all about showing off, the chest thumping and things like that. It was Mr. Michael Ledeen. He was national security advisor for Mr. Dick Cheney. And he is a neocons. He is just absolutely, I mean, fanatical dude. He said, and I quote, once every 10 years, we have to take the crappy country, smack it against the wall, and show everybody that we mean business. And of course, they're talking about crappy countries. Iran is not a crappy country. They actually know how to fight. And we see this result. And this strategy was always to hide behind proxies, the backs of proxies. And then once you are exposed to the real enemy, to the real war, and there you go. You have the tactical, technological realities dictating operational, strategic ones, and United States doesn't have resources to fight. So the United States moves now what? Another 10,000 personnel to the theater. You need to have about, I don't know, again, listen, it's very inaccurate, but I would say that if you look at the order of things, you need to have 1 million plus troops, combat troops, not support troops. That means what? You probably will have about 2 million of the, force somewhere in the deserts of Kuwait and Iraq or what have you, in order for you to even exercise realistic expectations on invading Iran and achieving some kind of whatever the political aim will be. All political aims which United States tried to pursue, whatever that is, but we know it was fighting on behalf of Israel. They failed, and that's the result.
Yeah. Actually, they were asking, here is Wall Street Journal reporting that they were asking car manufacturers to produce missiles and, I don't know, munitions. Is that going to help them?
Well, they evidently tried it before. I don't know how the automakers can make missiles. Theoretically, you can, first, missiles are, it's flying objects, okay? And the basically assembly of the missiles and delivering tactical technical parameters which are required is order of magnitude more complex than it is for the car, okay? It is a combat system, and it involves all kinds of different things, which is, of course, including testing, okay, which is serious testing and quality management, which differs dramatically from whatever they can have in the auto plants. You theoretically can retool things, but it is more organic, if you wish, for the automakers to get involved into production of some things like APC, armored personnel carriers or infantry fighting vehicles, things of this nature, because at least it is within the same parameters or technological capabilities, which are transportation, means of movement. How you can retool the automobile factory, unless you build something totally adjacent to it, and which initially already, from the onset is designed as the missile factory, then yeah, maybe yes. But again, do not forget also that this is also Wall Street Journal. It's staffed as any American or Western media, or for that matter, even most of Russian media. They're staffed with the morons who won't understand the first thing about anything real in life, and they will report to you any kind of garbage. But yeah, you theoretically you can you can employ your automakers and make them, if you can do that in the United States, do some transportation things, and again, APCs, infantry fighting vehicles with missiles and automakers. It's the same as you go and Boeing comes out and finds some people in the Ford Motors and say, hey, you're going to be making now this flying thing. And they say, what? So you have engineers, people who have no clue about the actually issues which relate to the production of the, missile is effectively aircraft. That's what it is.
Yeah. Andrei, we had this report confirmed by Washington that they have lost a drone, MQ-4C, which is so expensive, more than 2 times F-35. It's huge. Yeah. What is that, Andrei? What does it do that it's so expensive? Why is that?
Well,
What?
it's signal intelligence and optical intelligence. From what I don't remember all parameters of that thing. I don't keep them in mind because it's same old, same old. You have the radar there, which is you can see this kind of hunch, the not hunch, and the hump on the front of the.
Yeah.
It contains the optical electronic systems. It basically scans, it collects signals, all kinds of the electromagnetic spectrum, including optical. Optical is electromagnetic spectrum too. And yeah, basically that's what it is. It's a recon, very expensive recon platform. And yeah, they shut it down. So yeah, what can I say? It will be shut down. It's an easy target. It's not very fast. And yeah, there are all kinds of things, and many people still don't understand. But yesterday there were massive amount of videos of actually Iranian Air Force being in the air, flying MiG-29s and even F-4 Phantoms of all things. And yeah, Mi-28s actually patrolling the skies over Tehran, and they evidently are very good in terms of shooting down the drones and relatively slow flying targets. And yeah, what can I say? Mr. Pete Hexet lives in the alternative universe, but he always was. He is a Zionist, he fanatic, he's not Christian. And so the guy, what can I say? He's simply not adequate for the job, but who was for the last so many years in the United States in terms of the developing the military appropriate for the specific political targets. United States is just merely extension of Israel, and it fights like Israel, bombing.
Yeah. Andrei, do you see a military solution for the United States in the Middle East, or you see that? How do you see the current situation with the Trump administration? Somehow you hear, as you've mentioned, they're talking about the ground invasion of Iran. On the other hand, they're talking about talks and negotiations, and so much confusion happening right now.
Well, I mean, confusion in Washington, D.C. People who deal with the operation planning on the Iranian side, which has been demonstrated actually beautifully, and the other people who help Iran, so to speak, not announcing it, but yeah, they do what any military operational strategic planner will do. They deliberately put themselves at the disadvantageous position. And when looking at the contingency planning, they start from the worst case scenario. What is the worst case scenario? Okay, we have the situation that United States reinstates the draft. Somehow it tries to train this whatever the crowd of people, and then throw them. Somehow they put them into the assembly areas. I mean, and assembly, which will require many months, to put it mildly, if not years. And so they begin to invade Iran, for some reason. I absolutely positive that they have their contingency plan for that. They are prepared for that. And then after that, they develop all kinds of other scenarios, which are lighter in terms of their, so to speak, operational strategic strain on the resources of the country. And that's about it. United States simply doesn't have resources. Again, you cannot fight war with stock options and hedge funds. This is what many people still don't understand. All this, again, I'm not even looking today in modern times at any kind of the numbers of GDP, or it's all fake. Wall Street is fake. It's essentially nothing more than a collection of the psychopaths who basically make money out of the thin air, trading some things which are not there. And it goes across the board, because this is the systemic crisis of the financial capitalism. It's the system which is eating itself, basically eating itself. And now add here those aggravating factors, such as the United States being controlled by Israel, and Mr. Trump being unhinged, insane person who is obviously blackmailed. And you look at that, it's a complete decomposition. It's and as Michael Brenner correctly stated, about a couple of weeks ago, he wrote this wonderful article. After Gaza, after everything what was happening with the special military operation in Ukraine, and now with this, United States is painful as it is, it is for me to admit it. United States debased itself. It's not a moral beacon. It's basically the aggressor state, imperialist state, which is in the convulsing actually before its departure completely from the self-proclaimed greatness, greatest thing ever. So, and yeah, this is exactly what is happening right now, and it's not good for the United States, and it's not good for the world. But again, as I already stated, I wrote books on that. I spoke about it on so many occasions and wrote about it. The moment United States decided to step out due to incompetence of people in Washington behind the backs of its proxies, that was the moment. They, as always, they miscalculated because they don't have skills.
Yeah. Andrei, one of the greatest problems of the United States right now in the Middle East to protect Israel or any of these GCC countries is what has happened to their radars in the region, because they're not there anymore to protect them, to send signals. And here is one of the solutions that the U.S. Embassy in Baghdad came with. Here is, they made a cage for the radar. I don't know how is that going to save, let's assume they're going to install new radars. Is that going to help them?
Well, I mean, it might help against single drone, which still, depending on the type of the warhead, actually, and you have to understand there could be cumulative warhead, or what is called the tandem charge and things of this nature. So it can still break through, and especially you need to specially designed, it's one thing to put things around tank, okay, which is of course from the onset is designed as the essentially armored fortress on the tracks. That's what it is. And then of course in this case the cage can essentially initiate the first of the charges of the, if you think about it, of the tandem charge, and the second one will just simply hit the armor plating, which can withstand it, theoretically. It didn't help much Western tanks, but here it's just ridiculous, So yeah, this one good shot hit with the cumulative tandem charge, and even the fact that it explodes at the what's the name of it, at this net, this this cage, the basically shrapnel and the fragments will still can propagate through the gaps in this and damage the radar, is effectively annihilating it. So this is ridiculous, But again, they saw videos. Ukrainians told them they basically filled their ears with BS about how effective all that is. So, and yeah, it's pathetic, honestly. But yeah, sure, whatever floats their boat, because they are desperate. They need to have, and again, keep in mind, most likely this radar, I didn't see it exactly what it is. It could be anything, I didn't see the antenna itself, but it's difficult for me to see. Actually, it might be, from what I see, might be not even the radar itself. It could be satellite comms antenna or something like that. I don't see it clearly here anyway, but it doesn't matter. Yeah, I mean, comms antenna, yeah, it's important. They are critical. It's not radar. I don't really see it from this. I will have to take a look after that. But yeah, it's not going to help much.
So what will be the solution for the United States? We know that they want to protect Israel, but they're not going to have the radars back in the GCC countries, in my opinion, because Iran.
Oh no, GCC countries are done. Well, they are done as such. It's as I already stated. I will be lying. I have to confess that if I would say that I don't feel the Schadenfreude feeling of seeing how Dubai basically implodes on itself, which it will, because there are so many issues with the infrastructure, and you cannot now maintain it because they have the occupancy rates even in the tremendous discounts now to something like about 25%. So nobody wants to go there anymore. Yeah, you have to be a complete moron to start with. It's fake luxury, it's completely fake. Luxury is not golden plated garbage which they put there, and so it's like the imbeciles eat this steak with the covered with the golden whatever the thing. It's complete decomposition of morality, taste, things like that. And essentially the Dubai was playground for all perverts and avaricious riffraff, people without culture who went and investors. Now it is completely destroyed. It's not going to recover. There is no means to maintain whatever the infrastructure was there, and it's all going to run. It's already rusting actually. So because of the climate, you saw yourself what they did, and with these world islands, which it's a catastrophe. And I am really happy seeing this, because obviously it was understood by anybody, any normal person, even 15 years ago when they were building this, that it's all crap. Eventually it will dissolve itself, because you need to constantly reproduce this fake feeling, which there are many avaricious who made money on the stock market and what have you. And so now it came all to fruition, and it's gone. It's not going to be anymore this, this fake luxury in the in the Gulfies. And they don't have economic infrastructure to maintain this, only with the exception of the oil. And so it doesn't matter what they do there. They cannot put a radar there anymore. Again, complete bankruptcy of the strategic vision of the US military, with all those, we have 800 bases around the world. Yeah, you have 800 fat, prestigious, defenseless targets. That's what it is. And that has been demonstrated to a devastating effect. And again, it was exposed so much. United States doesn't have air defense in functional sense. What it's called air defense, it can barely intercept something like in the order of 25, maybe 30% of the targets. The rest of it just flies through. So, and I don't know if they knew it. It wasn't military which was designed to fight modern war. Again, it got lucky by choosing the enemy who was as dumb, as stupid as Iraqi army, so which you can call it army, that's the result. Again, we see this collapse of this whole number of the myths, including the myth of the Gulf states' wealth and what have you. But it's over, and no matter what they do, if they will try to put any kind of radar there, it will be annihilated the moment anything flares up again, and that's it.
Yeah. Andrei, how do you see the blockade of the Strait of Hormuz, which is, the blockade of the blockade?
Blockade of the yeah. It's a freak show. Okay, so that's the only words I have for it. And first, it's definitely difficult to do the proper blockade if you have to be really removed far away from the shores due to the missile threat, and you have relatively limited naval resources there. And again, we don't even know what the hell is going on with those aircraft carriers. Only one of them is relatively in the area somewhere, south of Pakistan, essentially. So they are trying to blockade whatever they try to blockade, but then again, there is a horrendously powerful choke point, another one, which is Bab el Mandeb Strait and the Red Sea. So we have to wait and see how far it develops. United States Navy certainly can have some resources, and they do, especially with the helicopters they carry, on the destroyers of the Arleigh class and things of this nature. They can enforce some of it, but reality is that you cannot create a total blockade of Strait of Hormuz. And then again, you have the dynamics, economic dynamics with the oil. All those so-called markets, it's nothing, they have nothing to do with the real physical oil. All those futures, all this garbage, derivatives, they sell each other and pretend that they sell real oil. It's paper oil. Real oil is, yesterday I looked up Urals, $121 per barrel. So that's what it is. So it cannot continue forever, and because it's obviously Europe is now basically on the verge of hysteria. Well, they are the ones who are getting hit hard, and yeah, Trump. He made an admission yesterday that high prices, high gasoline prices will be still during the basically. They will last through the midterms. GOP and his administration will be probably thrashed at the election polls, and midterms is a huge factor. And nothing they can do. I'm repeating it non-stop. United States doesn't have resources. It doesn't. And even the fact that they produce, let's say, more missiles, let's say, whatever they're going to be producing, JASSMs or air defense missiles for, let's say, PAC-3. And if they are not effective, you just merely multiply the ineffectiveness of the same technology, which is stuck in the early 90s. That's what it is. All of it. It's the military concepts are from there. But this is 2026.